Have you ever wondered where the problems in the world today would exist if we had deeper connection to ourselves, others, and the environment and acted from that place? Welcome to the Conscious Action Podcast with your host, Brian Berneman, who believe that connection is the key to taking conscious action as individuals and creating a better world. We are here to raise awareness and inspire meaningful action by sharing stories, knowledge, and conversations with thought leaders and change makers. From sustainability to well-being and everything related to conscious living, our mission is to empower you to be the change that you want to see in the world. Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Conscious Action Podcast. I am Brian Berneman, your host. And for this episode, which is our 200th episode, I wanted to talk about celebration. I know that this is a topic that we have already discussed during the podcast. And just because it's, 200 episodes, I wanted to take the time to honor, to celebrate, and to talk a few different things around the theme of celebration and why celebration is so important and so valuable for our lives. So the first thing is that for our well-being, for our mental health, celebration is important. It can actually boost our mental health. It can boost our motivation. It creates happiness and joy. And when we are using potentially celebration as a way of marking milestones in our lives, then it can provide us with a sense of accomplishment. And for some of us, and for how our system actually works, sometimes that's really important. So to be able to actually come to have, that growth mindset or positive mindset, celebration can be really useful. A lot of people that I know, every time that they have something on their to-do list and then they check it, that gives them that sense of fulfillment, of accomplishment, and that actually boosts their energy. So a lot of times celebration can be really supportive for our well-being. And a lot of different people, cultures in the world actually use celebration. There's a lot of different practices around celebrating how we are in our lives. Different cultures have different events, like perhaps at different ages or different stages in life. And it's really important to be able to understand that most cultures in the world actually recognize that celebration is important and that coming together, creating ceremonies or rituals or spaces to celebrate one another or one person, a couple, a family, a group, children, anyone that is potentially doing something or accomplish something, or just as birthday celebrations, the marking of stages in life. Perhaps a lot of different cultures have this for when a kid becomes an adult. Whether that's still relevant today, the age or not, it's irrelevant. It's about marking the stages of life. And I think that that's a lot of times really important to recognize that all cultures do that. And that sometimes we can learn from other cultures to see how do they do this? What's the way that they celebrate? How do they come together? How do they join to actually do this? And when we are on more of a daily basis perspective, we can celebrate as well. We can be mindful and we can be intentional in how we are bringing this into our lives instead of just going through the motions of life. This is where a lot of times journaling or gratitude practices are so important, because they can bring us to a place of celebrating the things that perhaps might be small or might be big. It doesn't matter. It's about bringing that awareness and that intentionality to understand there's a lot going on around us all of the time. There's a lot going on in the world. How can we take the time to acknowledge and to be intentional about making space and time to celebrate and to actually understand, I survived today. I did different things, you know, I understood different things. I learned different things. I behaved in different ways. So just taking the time for acknowledging is really important. And in terms of this, I just wanted to say it's been so far an amazing journey. So it's been since the end of 2019, which is where the first episode of the Conscious Action podcast started up until now, and mostly consistent every week, and so many different topics that we explore, so many amazing guests that we've had on this show. And I wanted to shout out to all of them for being on the podcast, for taking the time on their life, their schedule, and to share with all of us, with me, and with all of our listeners. One of the main reasons why I wanted to do the podcast was because there's so many amazing people in the world, so many people that I already knew, some people that I didn't know before. And I love having the time and the space to have a conversation, to learn about someone else's story, their journeys, their understandings, their perspectives. Some of them are really similar to mine, some of them are really different than mine. And to be able to have this recorded and to be able to share this and to be able to share amazing people, their gifts, their talents, their skills, and to be able to have a platform for understanding a different way of living, different perspectives, different people, and how can we live more consciously. And because we're all different, we need that. And some of the people are have been talking more from a well-being or spirituality perspective. Some people that have been guests have been talking more around sustainability, the environment. Um, it's all about conscious living, all about well-being. When we understand all of the different layers of well-being, it's personal well-being, relational well-being, the environment around us, the systems that we belong to. When we understand that, it's important to be able to recognize so many different aspects and layers in life to be able to actually be well. And there's been a few episodes that I particularly love that I got to interview and have on the podcast guest like some friends, like the last episode that I had Kate Hall, Ethically Kate, that she was the first guest as well. Other friends from around the world, like Chelsea, that we lived together in the past when I was living in the Tibetan Buddhist Retreat Center, and now she's doing amazing work in California with somatic healing and reconnecting with the body and supporting people through addictions, and people like that I looked up to, like Neil Donald Walsh, the writer of Conversations with God. That for me was a highlight to be able to have a conversation with Neil, both recorded and outside of the podcast. Someone that for a long time, I read many of his books, and that was beautiful. The same with Dan Millman, that he wrote the book, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, and that was amazing to be able to, have someone that I read his book, I watched the movie, and to be able to have a conversation with him and just to chat, because the podcast has been for me as much as for you. So Yeah, there's been so many. Like I cannot name all of the people, but it's been so beautiful to be able to talk with people that I didn't know before that are doing amazing things, people that were recommended by others, some people that reached out to me, that wanted to be part of the podcast, and some, as I said, friends or people that I knew. And yeah, it's been so beautiful to get here and to take the time to reflect as well. 200 episodes. It's a lot of hours of doing this. So yeah, it's been beautiful. So if you have been with me from the beginning, or even if you just discovered us, thank you. I celebrate you. I celebrate you for what you're bringing into the world. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for sending me messages or stopping me in the street and saying, "Are you the guy from the Conscious Action podcast?" And or meeting people at different places that ask me the same, like, "Oh, I recognize you from the podcast." And just to have people that are responding and are actually engaging is beautiful. So thank you. I want to take the time to honor you for watching or listening to however many episodes that you have. If you haven't yet listened to many, all of them are there. So you can just slowly go on back on time and listen to all of the episodes and keep on, interacting with me. Um, I just wanted to mention as well that again, we need to bring more celebration into our daily lives. Most people are just living in autopilot, this fast-paced world that we have, and there's no time to stop, to reflect, and to celebrate. And we need to honor everything, not just the wins. We need to celebrate the challenges. We need to celebrate the setbacks. We need to celebrate every redirection from the universe or our experience because that's part of our path. Everything has a purpose. So even again with the challenges, we need to celebrate them. We need to celebrate when we perhaps acted or behaved in a different way than we used to as we go through, reflection or personal growth or a healing path or a spiritual path, whatever journey we're in, honoring each aspect of it, not just the big aha moments that seem super transformational. We need to do it then, and we need to do it on a daily basis. Every little thing that we can notice, celebrating it. Every once in a while, I know that I go and I just go to my favorite cafe and I just buy a little piece of cake and I just celebrate by myself. Nobody needs to know that I'm doing that. I celebrate different moments in my personal life, with my work, with the podcast, with different aspects of my life. Whenever for example, I don't know, if I get paid with some big work that I've done, I go and I do that. And it's allowing that energy to keep on going and to continue and to build on that. So bringing that celebration allows me to bring gratitude and allows for more abundance to keep on flowing. So once again, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for taking the time. I celebrate and I honor you. I celebrate and I honor myself. I celebrate the Conscious Action podcast and the 200 episodes. And yeah, I would love to know, how do you bring celebration into your life? Do you do anything like I do? Do you take yourself out to celebrate with a cake? Do you do some parties with people? Like, how is it that you celebrate the big things, the small things, the everyday things? I would love to know. Leave a comment, whatever it is that you're finding this episode. Thank you, everyone. I'm looking forward for more episodes. I'm looking forward for more celebrations. Bye.
What did you like the most about this episode? Take a moment to think about what change you can make in your life today.
Share your conscious action on social media using #ConsciousAction and tagging @ConsciousActionNZ so we can celebrate your impact on the world and create a ripple effect.
One easy action we would love for you to take right now is to share, like, and subscribe to this podcast. This will help us get these messages out into the world and inspire more people to take conscious action in their own lives, contributing to the better world we hope for.